Well, hi, I'm Jay Arthur, author of Lean Six Sigma Demystified and QI Macros. It's January 2, 2026, and I don't know about you, but Six Sigma is still moving way too slow. And so one of the things I thought about was, well, maybe you can use the theory of constraints to talk about why that is and what we can do about it. All right, now I've been doing this for 35 years now, and I keep wondering, well, why isn't anything any better? Well, I think some of it is, but I think we could be going a lot faster. So what's the theory of constraints? Well, the theory of constraints says that in any process, there's always one thing that's kind of a bottleneck, right? So there's a bottleneck that slows everything down, and everything else has to be paced to handle the speed of the bottleneck. That makes sense? What's the bottleneck in Six Sigma? I'm going to argue it's the training process we have chosen. Right? Way back in 1980s, when Michael Harry and company figured out how to do this at Motorola, they came up with this whole plan. Now, I was just rereading his book. Guess how long he says it takes to mint a black belt? 24 weeks. That's a half a year. And then he says it's going to take 2 or 3 projects before that black belt gets proficient at things, before they can tackle more complicated things like DOE and so on. Right? So they're going to have to do multiple projects. But then he admits that, very often they don't do 2 or 3 projects. They do 1, maybe 2, then they get promoted or they get poached by some other company. So, how are we going to make any progress like that? So there are different kinds of constraints. There's policy constraints, like we've always done it that way. Well, I want you to consider that we've always done Six Sigma the same way. 2 to 4 week training spaced over months. And guess what? We're not getting there. Now, so what can I suggest? Well, I started back in 2000 using what I now call Agile Lean Six Sigma or Agile Process Innovation, where we can start getting results in a day or 2. We're only treating people in basic yellow belt stuff. I call it MVT, minimum viable training. Minimum viable training. Don't teach people things they don't need to know to solve problems they don't have, to impress people they don't like. Let's get them going on projects that need solving and that they can solve quickly using available data. You don't have to go mint new data. That's stupid, right? There's a lot of data sitting around, especially about things that are really a problem. Now, that sounds horrifically insane to most people, but that's our problem. We've always done it that way. Maybe there's a better way to do it, and I've been doing it for the last 25 years. And in the recent 5 or 6 years, I've seen other companies tell about how they had to go out and figure out how to do it in 1 or 2 days. Guess what? You don't need to. I've figured that out. All right, so I have a free yellow belt training at lssyb.com, so you can go out and send anybody to that. I saw a presentation by Underwriters Laboratories. They have people all over the world, and so they built their own kind of online training, which people will go through for a day, and then they'd meet locally as a team to solve a problem. You don't got to do that. I've already got one. All right. There's already a yellow belt training sitting out there for manufacturing healthcare. It covers service and manufacturing. In Michael Harry's book, he talks about in manufacturing, 90% of the people employed in manufacturing are the service side of the business, order, purchasing, payments, whatever. Right. So they don't need all these tools, all right? They don't. Minimum viable training. So maybe there's a way to go about it. Now, I also put up an Agile Lean Six Sigma trainer training, which you can take for free. And this year I'm going to add a certification to that so you can get certified by taking, the yellow belt, the Agile, and then going out and teaching your own class. Right? And then sending me an improvement project that matches what I think a really good improvement project should look like. It's not fancy. Control chart, Pareto chart, fishbone, control chart to sustain and and monitor and track what's going on and make improvements if something goes wrong. This is not hard, but we have to unlearn some crap that we have learned over the years about how Six Sigma is implemented. Now, the other thing about this I want to point out is this makes implementation easy. There's a book called The Diffusion of Innovations. And Diffusion of Innovations says when you get as little as 4% of a population doing something, it will stick in a culture. Now, this matches my 450 rule. So if you take 4% of your business that's causing over half the mistakes, errors, and waste and rework, guess what? You can focus teams on solving those problems, and you're going to get 4% of your people doing it. And then you can do the next 4%, and the next 4%, and the next 4%. And the diffusion of innovation says somewhere between 16 and 25% adoption, it spreads throughout the whole environment. So instead of having these big training things, where we start big with champion training and black belt training, and the black belts have to train 100 green belts. That's what Michael Harry said in his book. Every year. I don't know if you can do that much training in 1 year. Anyway, so instead of doing it that way, what if we do it this way, where we train some yellow belts and get some results, and train some more yellow belts and get some results. And out of those initial teams, you'll discover people who really have the interest, the drive, the desire to go out and be a green belt, a black belt, a master black belt. Invest in those people. Because when you start, you have no idea who's going to want to do this and be good at it. You just don't, right? And people will show up because, they want to add it to the resume. Well, that's not a good reason for the company. So, that's my improvement insight. Let's go out and improve something this week, like how we train and implement Six Sigma so we can start getting results quickly. And then take the people that are really good at it and move them on into green belt and black belt training to the point where it kind of takes over as the way we do business. Let's go out and improve something this week.